Who is Roderick Christopher White? I'm a Christian. I'm the humble son of a hard-working West Texas oil field worker. I'm the husband of a beautiful, supportive wife. I'm the proud father of a strong son and two beautiful daughters. I'm a graduate of Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a proud veteran of the United States Army. I earned my Juris Doctorate, my law degree, from the University of Houston. I'm a businessman. I started the law offices of Roderick White in 2002 with literally $1,200 in my pocket, one computer, and two suits. And I'm proud to say that with more than my share of the good Lord's favor, I've built a successful business that is also a genuine benefit to the communities that I serve. And I'm proud to be a real personal injury lawyer. I'm proud to say that I do not represent government agencies, corporations, or any other businesses. And I have no desire whatsoever to do so. I only represent the little guys. I'm a personal injury lawyer. Personal injury law is a phrase that is used to describe an area of law that is aimed at making sure that the good folks who have been injured or killed as a result of the negligent actions or inactions of another person or a business are appropriately compensated financially. Negligence can generally be defined as conduct that falls below the standards of reasonable behavior for the protection of others against an unreasonable risk of harm. For example, when a person drives drunk and injures someone, it's easy to see that in addition to committing a crime, he or she was also negligent. They subjected the other drivers on the roads to an unreasonable risk of harm. Now, a person or even a business can be negligent without committing a crime. Take, for instance, in an 18-wheeler accident. Many times these drivers operate these giant, dangerous machines without proper training, proper rest, and proper maintenance. In such cases, both the driver and the business that he is transporting for can be held responsible. Now, no one can undo the results of any accident. No one can take away the pain and discomfort of an injury, and obviously no one can undo the tragic loss of a precious life in a wrongful death scenario. But in most accident, injury, and wrongful death scenarios, the law does provide an avenue to help you or your loved ones financially deal with carrying on. That's where I come in. My entire staff and I are exclusively devoted to the aggressive, personalized, result-oriented representation of individuals that have been injured or killed because of the negligence of others. First, in any personal injury or wrongful death case, a strong, aggressive offense provides the best chance for success. We take pride in aggressively combining our legal knowledge, experience, and all other necessary resources to produce the best results possible. Secondly, we strongly believe in providing personalized attention to every case and every client. Every client and every case is important to us. Finally, we know that in the end, results are the only things that really matter. Just like when I was in the Army, it's my responsibility to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, the little guy. In the 70s and 80s, when I was a kid growing up in a small West Texas town, West Texas crude oil was king. The entire community, our local economy, our entire way of life revolved around the people and the companies working and doing business in those hollowed West Texas oil fields. If you know anything about oil field work in the 70s and 80s, you know it was dangerous work, very dangerous work. The drilling was dangerous, the operation of those huge oil refineries was dangerous, the transportation was dangerous. Especially back then, when the only real concern for many of those giant oil companies was getting that oil out of the ground and to the market as cheaply as possible. Well, who do large companies get to perform dangerous work cheaply? Poor folks, poor whites, poor Hispanics, and poor blacks. These were the little guys that I grew up watching. These were the little guys that I came from. I grew up watching families get emotionally and financially destroyed after the husband, the father, got injured or killed working in these oil fields. I grew up visiting friends and family members who had been catastrophically injured by 18-wheelers and other large oil field trucks, frantically speeding up and down our roads and highways. I'm sad to say that I went to more than my fair share of funerals that were the result of some form of oil field negligence. As I got older, I shockingly became more aware of how these injuries and deaths that routinely occurred in and around oil field activities really affected the families. Mr. Matlock, a white co-worker of my father, who also helped to coach our Little League baseball team, tragically got his leg cut off in a drilling accident. A few months went by, and Mr. Matlock and his family were rich. New house, new cars, new clothes. They had a completely different life. A few months later, Mr. Morris, a black oil field worker that we went to church with, was killed in yet another oil field accident. My oldest brother used to date Mr. Morris's daughter, Sheila. So I closely watched to see when they would get rich, like Mr. Matlock and his family. Several months passed by and nothing happened. A few more months passed, and I saw my brother walking home one night, leaving out of the local housing projects. I asked him where he was coming from. He told me that he was visiting his girlfriend, Sheila. It turned out that they had lost their house, and the wife and kids were now living in these local housing projects. As the years passed, I repeatedly thought about the Morris family and the heartache and difficulties that they must have went through. And I wanted to be a part of fighting that type of injustice.